So the next speaker is Hyeoneui Kim, who is developing or coordinating the development and implementation and trial of the iConcur project.
Thank you, Lucilla. Hello, everyone. I'm Hyeoneui Kim. I'm here to report the progress of iConcur project. So after briefly talking about the motivation of this project, I will summarize the last year's phase 1 work and then report on the progress of what currently we are making on the phase 2 work. And then if we have time, I will share some challenges and mitigation strategies, as well as next steps and timelines. So first, the motivation. The prior two presentation already justified why we need this work more than enough. So I will be very brief. Basically, we sign some consent form when we go to doctor's office. But do we really know what we are signing for? So let me give you some example. So this is the consent form that we are using at UCSD Medical Center. It contains everything, including the financial agreement and the data used for research. The item number 4 is the data used for research. So basically, it says that any data or images or biosamples produced during the service can be used for research or shared with the researcher. So we are all altruistic, and I want to do the right thing. So I wouldn't mind signing the consent form, but do we really know what we are getting into? So maybe one other example could be here. So by the way, right now, very brief poll is going on about the iConcur. So if you have QR code readers on your cell phone, you can participate to this poll by scanning the first square, or you can go directly to the website. So basically, we are asking you to indicate your data sharing preferences on 5 very simple items. So, only 7 people have participated. But the left corner is the answer. But as you can see, even for these 5 very simple items, everybody thinks differently. And the funny thing is that I picked these 5 items, but when I tried to answer the question, then I felt a little bit differently. Oh, so you need to use my body weight data. For what? Who are you? So please participate in this poll. It takes only 30 seconds. And you can do it right now. Don't worry about this presentation. And it will be a very interesting experience, at least. And maybe later today or tomorrow, we will share the full result with you. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that at the general level, okay, I can share whatever you need, but if you see the specific items, then you might feel differently. So now the motivation is obvious. The problem is we or patients don't really adequately get informed about all this. But if we ask them, they actually would like to have more control on how their data is being used for research. So many studies have proposed some solutions, like transparent use of data and biospecimen in research, which is such an obvious idea, nobody can disagree on, and some simpler language use so that people can at least understand what they are signing on, and some tiered informed consent. But the bottom line is that no proven or workable solution exists yet. So with iConcur project, what we are trying to do is to implement this idea and see what impact actually can bring from these solutions. So again, this is the overall idea of this project. So we will let the patient indicate their data sharing preferences, and that information get to store in the data warehouse environment so that when researchers request for the data retrievable person, we call them as a data concierge service. They prepare the data set by honoring the patient sharing preferences and hand it over to the researcher. And all these transactions get stored in data warehouse environment so that patient can actually see and check how their data is being used. So this is our idea. So last year, as a phase 1 work, we developed prototype data sharing taxonomy, which is very crude and simple, but it contains all the fundamental items in it. And we conducted some survey with 70 healthy volunteers, and we asked whether they would be willing to share this data for research. So actually, they wanted to have more granular level of control on the data sharing, but in general, they are very generous about sharing the data. But that doesn't mean that they are 100% open to giving out the data, because these numbers indicate the percentage that they people that they didn't really want to share this particular item of data. But this is just a part of the study result, and Elizabeth will be presenting the full result at the AMA of this year. So second phase, we are developing iConquer tool. We fully implemented sharing preference registry using the revised sharing choice taxonomy. So we revised the taxonomy based on the phase 1 survey and also some additional analysis on 62 real data requests submitted by UCSD researchers. And my data use, the data lookup registry module is still under development, but other modules like account management module is fully implemented, and we also built Spanish site. And these are the proud developers here. And okay, here let me show you a quick movie on how the iConquer site works. So when you come to the site, you will see the brief terms and conditions statement in 2 different languages. So if you accept the Spanish description, then you will go to the Spanish site. But I will accept English terms and condition. And then you need to sign in. But first, you have to create an account by providing some basic information about you. But I have a testing account, so I will log into the system using testing account, which I will share with you so that you can test the site if you want to. So login name is jdoe, like John Doe, Jane Doe, at email. You see that at email.com, and the password is test iConquer. So now I'm in, and you will see about 5-minute long tutorial video about the system. And let's make a sharing choice. You can do that in 2 different ways, either making a brand new choice or modifying the existing ones. But I will modify the existing one. So only difference between the 2 options is that if you go for the brand new choice making, then all these items will be pre-selected for you. So you have to unselect the items that you don't want to share. So we are providing 3 potential different data users with a full description. And all these data items also have descriptions and definitions so that you can see if you don't really understand what this data item means. So I'm making some changes here and there. And this time I will let the stem cell researchers can use my data. And if you want, you can attach some note, which is an optional. And I will save this choice. And then it gets saved as brand new my sharing data sharing preference. And some of the patients will get to see how their data is being used, like which institution, what study, and specifically what kind of data items that they are getting from us. So then there are additional pages where you can learn more about this study and full disclosure about the legal and privacy statement and so on, but I will stop here to save time. Okay, that's how this system works. So the clinical trial is another part of phase 2 work. With this trial, we want to see whether there are any differences in data sharing preferences by different patient characteristics or using health text or by having access to how their data is being used for research. So for this trial, of course, we will recruit patients and they need to sign the consent form again. And then we will invite them to the iConquer site where they need to make their sharing choice. Then we will randomize them into 2 groups. And only one group will get to see how their their data is being used for research. And then we will remind them to revise their data sharing choice, and we will see whether there are any differences. So right now we are in the process of recruiting patients. Elizabeth is leading that effort, and she is doing excellent job. And we are planning to recruit 200 patients from each recruitment site. One is Owen Clinic, specialized in HIV patient care, and La Jolla Clinic is General Internal Medicine Clinic. So as of last Wednesday, we recruited about 110 patients, and 6 patients from Owen Clinic only speak Spanish. So our Spanish site will become very handy for them. For the interest of time, I will just conveniently skip this slide because none of these challenge is really the major challenge for us, and we already have plan A, B, C, D for these problems. So then what's next? So the data recruitment will continue until the end of this year, and we will soon complete implementing the data, my data use module by the end of November. And then we need at least three clinical studies that actually use the data from the patient that we recruited so that we can populate the my data use page. So hopefully we can do this by the end of this year as well, so that the whole project can be completed by the early next year. So again, this is the team effort of these many people, and I would like to say special thanks to Dr. Amy Sitapati and Bronner, who kindly help us recruit patients from their clinics. So that's the end of my presentation. Now I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right. So questions. There are 39 respondents.
Wow. Nobody was listening to my presentation.
This is really a fascinating capability, but I'm just concerned about some of the consequences. If patients can opt out of very specific categories of data, it seems to me it can create a real nightmare for the analysis,
Right.
because every single table that you produce could be based on a different sample, and that's that's a really serious problem. I mean, it seems to me that what we really need for as part of the project, you mentioned you're going to look at patient characteristics, but I think trying to expand that to find out, what kinds of things, for example, how people evaluate risk and respond to risk in their life might be associated with all sorts of behaviors, smoking, taking, whether they buy insurance and all sorts of things that could have real consequences for the outcomes of the studies. Right. And I think integrating that into your research protocol so that you can say more about what kinds of other patient characteristics in very broad terms might be associated with these choices. That as you're creating a new capability, you're also creating a really important analytical problem.
Right, that's really an excellent question. Thanks for asking that. But actually, we will see whether patients really opt out or more likely to opt out for certain data item, and through this study, for example. And at the same time, that question is actually kind of nemesis question for us, because when we submitted some similar project idea as a proposal, we were beaten up because of the same reason. I mean, this can skew the data distribution, but we are hypothesizing that maybe there must be a way to impute or correct the skewedness. We don't know yet. So we are currently trying to come up with a study and test our hypothesis. Actually, Dr. Xiaoqing Zhang and Hyeoneui Kim. Actually, Ji-hoon doesn't know that he is part of this conspiracy yet. But, so we will soon.
Just got informed.
Yes, we will soon test out this hypothesis and see.
Well, the other thing that we believe is that currently things are not being shared for because of certain concerns. So if we can by any way increase the numbers, maybe that will be sufficient. So thanks for doing the survey. I was very interested in it. So the 27th of you who did not want to share alcohol use, there are drinks tonight. Just wanted to, and we'll keep the cameras apart.